Welcome to part 2, which is business models and revenue. In the first part, we actually saw the first phase, which is the problem, pain points, understanding the customers, the market, those kind of glossary, section. And in this particular session, we will actually deal with business models. Now, this is where your business is in a phase wherein it actually is trying to earn money, right? So therefore, what are the terms that are actually related to that? That's what we're going to see. On the right hand side of this screen that you actually see is business model, revenue model, something like B2B, B2C, D2C, B2B2C, freemium, SaaS, gross margin, unit economics, subscription, break even, all that. So we'll move to the next slide. And there are 18 terms in this section as well. Okay, we'll start with, of course, understanding the business model, the revenue model stream, revenue stream. But what kind of models these are? Freemium, subscription, SaaS, marketplace, commission. Then we will also understand a little bit on finance. Okay, what's the gross margin? What's net margin? What is something called break even? Unit economics, price point. You have been hearing these terms very often, right? When an entrepreneur is pitching to an investor, you might be listening to these terms. Premium pricing, upsell, cross-sell, licensing, white labeling. So let's start with the first, business model, a very important event, very important section in any business, right? So first, let's understand what business model is. The plan that describes how a company creates value for its customers, how it delivers value to them, and how it captures a portion of its revenue. So there are three terms which are really very important in the definition of business model: creating value, delivering value, capturing value. Take any example, any business. It is trying to create value for customers. Just by merely creating the value, it won't suffice. It has to reach out to customers to deliver that. And from there, it captures a portion of its revenue, right? So it answers three questions. What do we sell? What do any business sell, for that matter? And to whom? And how do we get paid? In plain English, your business model is your answer to how does this thing make money? It is not your product, it's the logic that connects your product to your bank account. And why it matters for founders: a brilliant product with a wrong business model fails. A mediocre product with the right business model can become enormous. WhatsApp had hundreds of millions of users before it figured out a business model. Most startups cannot afford that luxury. Take the example of Zomato. Zomato uses a multi-sided business model, which means it earns from restaurants by listing them, by the advertisement fees, from the customers, of course, through delivery charges. And there are some partnerships that they have already made with certain banks or credit cards. Zomato Gold subscriptions you may actually have, right? And from delivery partners. Now, three revenue streams, one platform. That's why it survived when competitors with single stream models did not. So what you need to remember it as: your business model is not what you sell. What you sell is a product. It is how you get paid for what you sell. Two completely different things, right? So let's understand revenue model. There'll be a slight difference between business model and revenue model. Remember, business model has three terms that we actually discussed: creation, delivering, and capturing. What revenue model is? The specific mechanism by which a company generates income, right? There's a process, there's a mechanism that you might have created, and how income is generated, maybe through subscription, maybe through commission, maybe through one-time sale, advertisement, through licensing, or could be combination. The revenue model is the financial engine inside the business model. In plain English, if the business model is the factory, the revenue model is the payment counter at the exit. It specifies exactly when and how money changes, hands, and why it matters. So investors ask is, what is your revenue model? Not do you have a business model? Choosing the wrong revenue model for your product is one of the most common early stage mistakes. Netflix switched from a per DVD rental model, which is pay per use, to a subscription model, pay monthly. And that one revenue model change transformed a DVD company into a $200 billion streaming giant. The revenue model is not what you build, it's how money flows once someone decides they want it. On the other hand, what is revenue stream? A single source of income within a business. That's called the revenue stream. A company can have multiple revenue streams from the same product or across different products or customer segments. In plain English, to put it, if revenue is water, a revenue stream is one pipe. Most smart startups eventually build multiple pipes. So if one gets blocked, the others keep flowing, right? So why it matters? Startups with a single revenue stream are fragile. If that one stream dries up, a platform shuts down, a regulation changes, a key customer leaves, the whole business is at risk. Take the example of Byju's, the edtech giant, has several revenue streams: annual subscription, test prep courses, live classes, study materials. When the core subscription stream slowed, the other streams kept the company alive for a while. So one revenue stream is a single point of failure. Great businesses build multiple pipelines, okay, or pipes early. Let's take these common terms: B2B, B2C, D2C, B2B2C. So essentially this all these things are answering who are you selling to. This changes everything: your pitch, your price, your sales cycle, and your marketing. Let's take the example of B2B, which is business to business. You sell to companies and you don't sell directly to individuals. Okay. Zoho, for example, sells CRM software to businesses. Tally sells accounting software to shops and firms. Longer sales cycle, bigger deal size, relationship driven. Understand this. B2C, business to consumer. You sell directly to individual consumers. Swiggy sells food delivery to you. Nykaa sells beauty products to individual shoppers. Short sales cycle, high volume, marketing driven. D2C, direct to consumer. Now, here is the difference: B2C and D2C. A manufacturer or brand sells directly to end consumers, bypassing retailers or distributors. For example, let's take the example of Mama Earth that sells directly through its own website, cutting out Amazon and Flipkart as the primary channel. Now, high margins owns customer data, brand first. Then take the example of B2B2C. You sell to a business, which then serves its own consumers. You enable their product. Razorpay, for example. Razorpay sells to businesses who use it to collect payments from their customers. The C, right? Without the businesses, there is no access to the consumers. Complex but scalable. The business is your customer, but the consumer drives the demand. Hope this is clear. Let's take the example of the freemium model. Okay, what is the freemium model? It's a pricing model where basic version of the product is offered at a particular charge, or maybe it's actually free when you talk about a free model, right, with more advanced features. So higher usage limits or premium support available at a paid tier. So in plain English, free gets users in, premium pays the bill. The word is a mashup of free and premium. You give enough enough away to hook people, because when you're giving freebies, people are coming. Then charge them to go deeper. You'll have to ensure the quality of your product is really good and they become habituated. Why it matters? Because freemium is one of the most powerful B2C growth models, but only if the free tier is genuinely valuable and the upgrade is compelling. If the free tier is too good, nobody upgrades. If it is too bad, then nobody signs up. Take the example of Canva. It's a free version. Tool is available. I mean, you can actually create, let's say, any kind of leaflets if you want. Okay, if you want to create a brochure, if you want to do any kind of creativity, Canva provides that. But it has its free version, which is really excellent. Millions use it. But for brand kits, premium templates, and team features, you pay for Canva Pro. The free tier made Canva the world's most used design tool. The paid tier makes it profitable. So freemium works when free makes people love you and premium makes when they need you. The sixth one is the subscription model. What it means, a revenue model where customers pay a recurring fee. Weekly, monthly, or annually. To access a product or service, revenue is predictable and compounds over time. Instead of buying once, the customers pay regularly to keep using, like a magazine subscription, but for software, content, food, and almost anything. Now, why this matters? It's very simple. Subscription models are beloved by investors. They're loved by investors, in fact, I'll tell you, because they create predictable recurring revenue. Once a customer subscribes, the company does not have to resell to them every month. They stay until they actively cancel. You take the example of Netflix, take the example of Spotify, or Zoho, or Slack, or Byju's. Many of them, in fact, all of them are subscription models. Some may use combination, but at least Netflix, Spotify, Zoho, Slack, they all have subscription models. The power is 1 million subscribers, let's say at $4.99 per month. That's equal to 59.9 crore recurring revenue every single month before any new customer signs up. So subscription turns a sale into a relationship. Revenue, you can count on its worth far more than revenue you have to re-earn. Software as a service, it's a noun, it's a SaaS. Please remember, AA are usually small in SaaS. What it means is it's a software delivery model where a company hosts an application on the internet, on cloud, and users access it via a browser or an app, paying a recurring subscription instead of buying or installing the software. Okay, you must have seen Google selling you GBs. Very simple. You don't have to necessarily keep your things in a hard drive. You can buy, and monthly subscription could be a little cheaper. Let's take the example. SaaS is one of the most attractive startup models. Low distribution cost, high margins, predictable revenue, recurring revenue, and global reach from day one. Investors love SaaS because the metrics are clean and compounding. So in plain English, if you have to put it, what SaaS is, old model, you buy a CD. If you remember, those of you who were born in CDs, and I'm sure many of us, we remember CDs. Install a software on your computer and use it forever. SaaS model, simple. You pay monthly, log in from any device, and the company keeps improving the product. You can stop your subscription anytime. Okay. The real world example is Freshworks. It's a Chennai-based startup. It's India's most successful SaaS company, valued at over $3 billion. You can check the real numbers on the internet. Its products, Fresh Desk and Fresh Sales, are used by 68,000 plus businesses across 120 countries. No CD, no installation, login from anywhere, pay monthly. So Zoho, CleverTap, ChargeBee, India has produced dozens of world-class SaaS companies. SaaS is renting software at scale. That's how you can remember. Renting software at scale. That's a good way to remember. The magic is you build the software once and rent it to a million companies simultaneously. Then comes the marketplace. A very simple way to remember. So, what is this? A platform that connects buyers and sellers, facilitating transactions between them without owning the inventory itself. The marketplace earns a fee or commission on each transaction. In plain English, you build the stage, others perform. You collect a fee for every ticket sold. You do not own the show, you own the venue and the audience. And why this matters? Because marketplaces are powerful because they scale without owning inventory. But they face a chicken and egg problem. Sellers won't join without buyers, and buyers won't come without sellers. Solving that first is the founder's core challenge. Take the example of Urban Company. Urban Company connects customers to home service professionals. It does not employ professionals on their own or own their tools or set their rates. It owns the matching layer and takes a commission on every booking. That platform now serves 35 plus cities with minimal fixed costs. A marketplace does not make the product, it makes the meeting. The transaction is the product. Then what's the commission model? The commission model is very simple. It's a revenue model where a company earns a percentage of every transaction or sale facilitated between two parties without directly selling a product itself. To understand it better, you connect buyer to seller, they do the deal, you take a cut, simple, scalable, asset light. What do you mean by asset light? This could also be a term. This is a term which means you don't own any asset. You can take the example of Ola, Uber. They don't own any cars. They've created a platform and the drivers and passengers get connected. So why it matters? Commission models align incentives perfectly. You only earn when your users earn, but the commission rate must be set carefully. Too high and sellers leave the platform. Too low and you cannot build a sustainable business. Take Zerodha's example. Zerodha charges rupees 20 or let's say 0.03%, whichever is lower per trade. You may check the actual rates on their platform, not for the stock, for the facilitation. With 10 plus million active traders, that commission adds up to over, let's say, 18,000 crore rupees in annual revenue. No inventory, no risk, pure facilitation. So commission models win when both sides of the transaction need each other and need you to find each other. Now, moving on to the next part. Till now, we have dealt with these terminologies, all related to business models, but let's now talk about numbers, a little bit of math. We'll use the term margin. So what are margins? The most important numbers in your profit and loss sheet. Gross margin, let's take. The definition is very simple. The percentage of revenue remaining after subtracting the direct costs of producing or delivering the product. And that is called the cost of goods sold or COGS. It shows how efficiently you produce the value. So very simple formula to remember is first let's calculate gross profit, which is here. That is revenue minus COGS. And if you have to calculate gross margin, just take the revenue minus COGS divided by revenue into 100. Okay. What is revenue? The money that you get through direct sales. That's it. You sell a t-shirt at 400 rupees, you sell 10, you got 4,000 rupees. That's the revenue. The cost of making the t-shirts is, let's say, 200. So 2,000 rupees is gone. So 4,000 minus 2,000 is your gross profit. Hope this is clear. There's one example mentioned here. You charge rupees 1,000 for a digital course. It costs you rupees 200. And where is this 200 going? Maybe the server cost, the payment gateways to deliver. So gross margin will be 1,000 minus 200 divided by 1,000 multiplied by 100. That's 80%. You keep rupees 800 for every 1,000. Please, this is a very important catch. Don't think that you're profitable at this moment. There could be other expenses, which we'll discuss. Those terms we'll discuss later. Okay. Yes. So gross margin is what's left after making the thing, before salaries, rent, or marketing. The higher, the better. Different industries have different standards of gross margin. Maybe in an ed tech, it could be 60 to 80%. For a software, for SaaS, it could be 75 to 90, 95 sometimes. Okay, so net margin, let's take the percentage of revenue remaining after all expenses, including the COGS, okay, salaries, rent, marketing, taxes, and interest. You get net margin. Net margin is your actual profit after everything is paid. It is your money which you can keep in your bank account. Nobody else can claim because you have paid everything, even paid the taxes, even paid the depreciation. Okay. So net margin is equal to net profit divided by revenue into 100. So how do you calculate net profit? It's very simple. Take the revenue, subtract COGS from it, and subtract the operating expenses, the salaries, the rent, marketing, and everything else. Okay. And when you subtract taxes and interest, you get net margin. Same, let's take the example. 1,000 rupees course, after COGS, you had 800, but then you spent rupees 600 on salaries, marketing, office. What you're left with is 200 rupees. So 200 divided by 1,000 into 100 is 20%. Is the money which is there with you. You earned 20%. So gross margin is the optimist number. Net margin is the honest one. Build a business where both are healthy. Then what's break even? Okay, it's a noun or it's a verb phrase. Break even. It's a verb phrase. It's not a noun exactly. It's a verb phrase. What it means is the point at which a company's total revenue equals its total costs. Meaning it is neither making a profit nor a loss. It's a no loss, no profit situation. And for entrepreneurs, break even point is really very important because any money that you make after achieving the break even will be your profit. Okay. So before break even, the company is burning money. After break even, every additional unit sold becomes profit. In plain English, break even is when you're not losing anymore, not yet winning, but no longer bleeding. It is the survival line. Every founder should know exactly how many sales they need to reach it. Why it matters for founders? Because it's one of the first numbers every investor asks about, and one of the last things many founders sometimes calculate. Knowing your break-even point forces you to understand your costs and sets a concrete survival target. So know your break-even early, always, that how many products you have to actually sell to come out of the pool. Okay. So imagine that you're in a swimming pool and it's like your nose is just above the water. You're surviving. Okay. So that's very important. Now, real world example is, let's say I run Founders Lab online. The fixed cost is 30,000 rupees per month, which includes the platform, software, my time. Revenue per student is 10,000 rupees. The variable cost per student could be the razor pay fees, 1,000 rupees. Certificates, contribution per student is 9,000. Break even is 30,000 divided by 9,000, which is 3.3. You need 4 students per month to break even. Every student after that is profit. Right? So break even tells you how many customers you need to survive. Know this number before you spend a single rupee on marketing. So what we studied, let me just recall. We started with business model and we talked about lots of business model. Okay, how, and then the revenue model, of course, right? And then we talked about the gross margin, the net margin, the break even. Let's understand the unit economics, very important term. It's a noun phrase because there are two things, unit and economics together. the direct revenues and costs associated with acquiring and serving a single unit of business. It's very easy then it becomes very easy for you to understand and explain. So therefore we say unit economic. Unit means one. Typically one customer. Okay. So unit economics reveal whether the fundamental business model is viable before you scale it. And unit economics answers the question, does this business actually make money on each customer, or does it lose money on each one and hope to make it up in volume? You cannot actually. And why it matters for founders. Many funded startups scaled with broken unit economics, spending rupees 500 to acquire a customer worth only rupees 200. Without good unit economics, growth makes the losses bigger, not smaller. So fix unit economics before you scale. Take the example of a tiffin delivery startup. Revenue rupees 3,000 per month, costs food rupees 1,200, delivery rupees 600, plus packaging rupees 100, plus ads 800. Okay, what you get in total is 2,700 in total. So profit per customer is 300 per month. Now, if they stay for 12 months, your LTV, which is the lifetime value, will be your 36,000 versus the SCAC, and we'll introduce these terms of 800. So LTV by CAC will be 45:1. This is an excellent unit economics. Lifetime value and then customer acquisition cost. The cost that you incur to acquire one customer. Lifetime value is how long your product is going to give you money, right? Or customers are going to buy, or maybe repeat customers are going to acquire. Fine. So if you make 10 crore rupees on every customer, 10 rupees on every customer, but spend rupees 15 to get them, scaling will bankrupt you faster. Fix unit economics first, then scale second. Two more terms here, which is price point and premium pricing. So the specific price at which your product or service is offered, that's the price point chosen based on production costs, competitive pricing, customer willingness to pay, and the brand's positioning. Okay, are you providing value? Okay, look at your customers around and then you're trying to place. All these things should be considered. In plain English, how much does it cost? But the choice of that number is one of the most strategic decisions a founder makes. Sometimes just increasing 10% can actually help your business grow faster. But if you reduce by 10%, right, you can go bankrupt. So that decision is up to you. So price signals value. Too low and customers assume the product is cheap. Too high and you price yourself out of the market. Get price right is more art than science. And most founders underprice out of fear. Before that, know your customers well. Understand where they live, what they eat, where they sit, how much money they have. If you have, you can position it faster. Is your customer creating enough value? Okay, Apple iPhone costs, let's say, 80,000 rupees. A Redmi phone costs rupees 10,000. Both make calls. Both have cameras, great cameras, I'll say. The price point is not just about cost. It's about the experience. It's about the status symbol. It's about the ecosystem each brand promises. Your price is not just a number. It's a signal to the market about who you are and who you are for. Let's understand the premium pricing. A price strategy where a product is deliberately priced higher than competitors to signal high quality, exclusivity, and luxury, and to attract customers who associate price and value. Make sure it justifies that as well. Premium pricing means we charge more because we are worth more and our customers know it. It only works if the brand, product, experience justify the same. Just now I discussed. Okay, so premium pricing leads to higher margins. Why it matters? Because premium pricing leads to higher margins, better outcomes. Those who pay more complain less. or maybe churn less, which means leave you less, and stronger brand positioning, but it requires a credible reason for the premium. Without it, you're just expensive. Take the example of Starbucks. Charges 400 rupees for a coffee that costs maybe 20 rupees to make. The premium is not the coffee, it's the experience. It's a lounge area, it's the internet, it's the social networking that you actually do, the environment, the cup, everything, right? That is premium pricing done right. Never apologize for your price. If you build real value, price is not the problem. Communicating the price is. So now you understood there are companies that sell only products and there are companies that sell not just product, but something else, experience. Find out people who value experience. Let's take upsell and cross-sell. Upsell, common term, persuading an existing customer to upgrade to a more expensive version of your product, add premium features, or increase their usage tier. That's called upselling. Increase the revenue from that customer without acquiring a new one. Understand the customer's psyche. Try to position a product of higher version. You already have the customer. Upselling is convincing them to pay more for a better version. Would you like to upgrade to a pro plan? You get 10 times more features for 2 times the price. Maybe you can convince the customer. Just see what has happened. You've increased the sale with your existing customer, no additional finding out a new customer. There's no additional cost that you spend in the form of CAC. So upselling is the most common efficient revenue growth strategy. Acquiring a new customer costs 5 to 7 times more than selling more to an existing one. Startups that master upselling grow faster with less marketing spend. Take the example of Notion. It has a free plan, it has a plus plan, and a business plan. When you hit, please go and check out there exactly. So when you hit the storage limit on free, it nudges you to upgrade. That single upgrade moment, the upsell, is where 60% of Notion's revenue is generated. The best time to sell more is right after someone has bought and felt the value. The upsell is the second sale and it's almost free. Free? What do you mean by free? The CAC part that I discussed. Okay. The next part is cross-sell. Offering a related or complementary product to an existing customer. It's not exactly the same product or its higher version. It's a different product, increasing their total spending without them having to, seek out new solutions from competitors. Okay, you bought X, you might also need Y. It keeps revenue within your ecosystem instead of letting it flow to competitors. You bought a keyboard, why not the mouse? You bought a tablet, why not the pen? Think about it. So cross-selling builds ecosystem stickiness. The more products a customer uses from you, the harder it is to switch away, and the higher the revenue per customer without the cost of acquisition. Now, Amazon does this masterfully. Buy a camera and it immediately shows you memory cards, tripods, right? It does this packaging so well, and cases. Each of those is a cross-sell. Amazon estimates that 35% of all its revenue comes from cross-sell recommendation. So the beautiful recommendation engine that they've created. In fact, Netflix also does the same thing. If you've liked a particular movie or the series or content, there are other related to that. A customer who buys one thing from you is rented. A customer who buys 3 things is owned. Cross-sell builds that debt. Licensing and white labeling. So licensing, a business arrangement where a company grants another company or individual the right to use its intellectual property, a brand, technology, patent, or content in exchange for a fee or royalty, which means you own the recipe, someone else cooks and sells it. You get paid every time they do without doing the cooking yourself. Licensing is a way to monetize intellectual property without doing the work of scaling. Once created, the same IP can be licensed to hundreds of companies simultaneously, pure leverage. If AI-Praxis licenses its founders' lab curriculum to other schools to run themselves, keeping the brand, content, and certification standards, but not providing a facilitator, that is a licensing model. Schools pay an annual license fee, AI-Praxis earns passively. So licensing turns your knowledge into a product that earns money while you sleep in cities you have never visited. White labeling, a product or service produced by one company but rebranded and sold by another company under that company's own name and identity, as if they build it themselves. So you build the engine, another company puts their logo on the car and sells it as their own. The customer never knows you made it. You do not care you got paid. White labeling is a high leverage B2B revenue model. You sell one product to a company and they sell it to their thousands of customers, one deal, massive reach. So many fintech apps in India run on a white labeled payment infrastructure built by Pine Labs or Razorpay. The app looks like it belongs to the bank, but the engine underneath is from fintech company. They pay to use it. White label is when your product becomes invisible, but your revenue is very visible. Build something good enough to power other brands. We complete part 2 with 18 terms with one big idea. Knowing how money flows is not optional. Every founder who can read their own business model is 10 steps ahead of one who cannot. In the next, we will be talking about MVP, prototype, wireframe, roadmap, agile, all related to building the product. Thank you so much for watching. Do like and subscribe. Take care.